Yes.
I got you back on here, huh?
Yes, sir. DKP.
What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just been going over the road as a truck driver. Gained some more weight.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know, man. It's getting into this new job. Basically, just been hitting up these truck stops, man. There's like nothing healthy at a truck stop.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Not even their salads are healthy.
They put grease over the lettuce and spinach, and they dip the tomatoes
all
and
sorts of stuff.
pig fat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so
Very
how do
seldomly do you see skinny truck drivers.
so how do you change that? I mean, what's the alternative?
Well, I'm putting a microwave into my cab, and then I got a little cooler. I'm gonna try to pre-pack my dinners and snack during the day. That's the idea.
I mean, shit. I guess that's what you got to do. I mean, do you see other truck drivers who are like slim and fit?
Rarely. They're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there, but the majority of them are like me, pushing 400 pounds.
Okay, so yeah, you wanted to talk about that, but we'll get to that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted, so we finished off on your story.
Yes. Yeah.
A captivating story. A lot of people enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I mean, it can definitely help people to see, hey, this is what this guy went through. I'm sure there's people doing the same thing right now, living the exact same way.
Yeah. Yeah, touch a wide variety, living under a bridge, homeless to high upper middle class.
So they might have seen that.
Of people.
They might have seen that, and it might have gave them hope.
Yeah, as we were talking over the phone, that kind of gave me the idea for like an interactive podcast.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be cool,
Sure,
to have people be able to kind of see, because it's one thing to kind of hear the story, and I may have got some dates messed up or something, but that's the gist of the idea. It's kind of what I went through, and then I guess we kind of left at where that year or two where I started getting going and my things started healing.
Okay, so you want to take off from there because you feel like there's a lot more to the story.
Yeah.
So we kind of left a cliffhanger on that 2 episodes ago when you were last on here.
Yeah.
So picking back up from that, let's see. Let's try to pick it back up. Bear with me. So you got the job at Wingstop. You were working at McDonald's as a manager.
Yeah, and then that was that year I didn't really know what Christianity was. I saved there for a year or two, didn't know what it was. You
got your own place, so you weren't homeless anymore.
Yep.
You got away from those people.
Yep, working 86 hours a week plus, with
didn't,
the extra stuff I was doing.
You didn't join the Illuminati.
No, no, I did not. Freemasons, I guess, is the correct term.
Right.
I mean, I didn't go deep into it. It's kind of like presented with the opportunity. Dip the toe in a little bit, and made the decision instead to follow Jesus. And
Lewis and Clark, Lewis and Clark, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Clark,
Lewis.
Meriwether Lewis. He was a Freemason.
Oh.
There's actually a Freemason society, and there's a bunch of chapters all over the U.S.
Interesting.
And so there's this conspiracy that he was murdered, and he was wearing his Freemason, it's like a bib or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And he got murdered, and the blood splattered on that bib, and it's in the Freemason chapter somewhere in the U.S. I think it's in Utah.
Huh.
So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think people don't really know as much as they think they know. It's one of those things. Probably keep a lid on it pretty tight. They don't just let anyone in, and
right.
Unless you actually know, you don't really know. And there was a time period there where I would look into that kind of stuff, because I was presented with it and it intrigued me, and and looked at it from, I guess, a Christian standpoint. But then I came to understand that, an analogy that my buddy Joseph would use with me is that the treasury police, I don't know what they're called, like the police for the treasury, or those that watch over the treasury money and whatnot. They're the task force that's used to, about money or whatever, our money system. And they don't study the counterfeit bill. They don't look at any of these, not saying that it's fake or doesn't hold any value. As far as, I think everything happens for a reason. I think that God has everything in the scope, in the plan. He lives outside of time and space. Everything's inside the box and he's in control. And everything has value. Negative, positive, these are concepts that I don't believe in. I don't believe in negative or positive. A lot of people, stay positive, whatever. It's like, I don't really look at things that way.
How does that tie in with the counterfeit bills?
Oh yeah, I guess I got a little off on a tangent. But, I just wanted to say that they're not of any less value in the eyes of God. But the point is that when you're into something or something that, you're pushing towards, it's Christianity, spreading the word of God, becoming more like Christ, to know God, that's my $100 bill, so to speak. That's my gold. That's my treasury. That's what I'm seeking after. So it's not important to look at all the counterfeit bills. You study the real bill. You look at every nook, cranny,
Sure.
You study it deeply, and then when the counterfeit comes, it's counterfeit. So as far as looking into things like that, I don't spend a lot of time. A lot of people try to get a little knowledge here, a little knowledge there. I believe in faith without a question of a doubt, without a shred of doubt, with that Jesus Christ died on the cross and rose again. That's my belief system. So that's what I'm dedicating my life to, is love.
Sure.
And that. It's not that
we all don't have, that's the beauty. Like you recognize that we all don't have to agree, but at least you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
And you're dedicated to it.
Yeah.
You're so basically what you're saying, don't be wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Don't dip your toe in things and then give up and then dip your toe in this and
Yeah. If you found something you're passionate about, go 100% and study that bill up. Give everything to that thing. And because I think we live in a generation, us in particular, our generation kind of has, I think it's kind of a special generation. It has a touch of the old world and the new world. Kind of. We didn't have cell phones or Facebook or anything until like high school. We grew up in a world where Dad would whistle. Oh, gotta go home. We've been playing all day at the creek. We've been playing with our boys outside.
That's true.
So we're, I think, a very special kind of generation between that, especially that like
right on the cusp,
85
to
92. That 7 years there is kind of, you had a taste of, especially like the 88 to like 92, those 4 years there in particular. We kind of got to see the growth, the boom, all that stuff growing up.
I remember if me and my cousin would film us playing basketball, and of course I'm into video editing, or I had a way to edit videos.
Yeah.
So and the video is on YouTube, by the way, because he took that footage and got it put on YouTube in 2008. So it's one of the first videos, because YouTube's from 2006. But we shot this in 2002. And I remember we'd shoot it with my camera. To put the audio, the music on it, we'd take a little boom box. You take the yellow, the prongs, the white prong and the red prong, hook them into the boom box, and then put the white prong and the red prong into the VCR.
You already
and you'd
lost
have
me.
to hit play and record at the same time as you had the VHS in, with the camcorder plugged in to the video part of the VCR.
Oh, man. Wow.
So yeah, we had a touch of like the technology was probably getting there at that point. But yeah, we had a touch of like, this is the old way shit was done. Like, if you wanted to do that kind of stuff. In
school, we had to write down everybody's home number, you know. Is Mr. So-and-so, is Julie home? You know?
Well, you'd
talk to Julie,
memorize phone numbers too.
Huh?
You'd memorize phone numbers
I know,
too.
right? You know how many numbers Now what do you throw into your head? TikTok videos?
You know, we kind of longed for those days too of like, man, I remember when I didn't have a cell phone. When you could just think clearly.
Yeah.
Now this shit is just, it bombards us. We've lost all curiosity.
Yeah.
Curiosity is gone. We're not curious about anything because we have the access to all the information at all times. Mm-hmm. So when you're not curious, you lose creativity. And I've been thinking about this today. So when you lose curiosity, you lose creativity. And then you become less human. You become a robot. So it's okay to sit in a room like when we were kids and be bored. You know, like your parents would put you in timeout. And you used to be like, ugh. But that's actually where thoughts come, ideas come, creativity comes. That shit's out the window, man.
Yeah, a crazy man can make a knife out of a bar of soap, you know?
Yeah,
like some of the craziest like stories
out
come
of
out of prison, right?
A knife out of a bar of soap?
Yes, dude. Like these guys in prison just come up with some. It's amazing what they come up with, you know, because they don't have all these outside. But it's also, you know, that's a whole other story. Like, you know,
that's crazy.
You're always somebody's gonna test you.
Yeah, prison is a good example that we lock these guys up, but they're actually getting something we can't have. It's so ironic. Yeah, we're locking them up.
They read in prison, man?
They're reading books. They're making knives out of bars of soap, and they're trying to make alcohol.
Yeah,
I mean,
out of orange skins and toilet water. It's like impressive. That's so impressive, dude. It's crazy.
Orange skins and toilet water. Yeah, that's
some of the most intelligent people in the world are probably in prison.
I was thinking about that the other day. How many geniuses are behind bars right now that we just don't know? They might say some just super crazy shit that makes sense, but the guards are like, "Ah, fuck off," you know.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like the solitude, or like, go back to what we were saying, man. I think we're in a world now where you get a little bit of everything, you know, and people are being so strung out that, you know, it's flimsy. It doesn't hold water, you know. It has so many holes and you can get so much just at the click of a button.
So much
that
it's ridiculous.
You never, like you said, you never have to be bored. Oh. Like, you just go to your phone and you have unlimited access to just keep your boredom at bay. And
you know,
it's just,
there would be no Bill Gates if it was like that when he was a kid. He would have just said, fuck it. I don't need to think of an idea. Like, it's all there for me.
Yeah.
So this is killing future Bill Gates, and geniuses are dying every day because of technology.
That, you know, they make an argument. I've heard an argument for that is that when you die to this old system, kind of like workers, for example, you know, like there's not as much need for this, that, and the other. A whole new field opens up. You know, I guess that's kind of the argument, is that now thinkers are becoming different, you know, but I think to an extent that can be definitely true. Mm-hmm. But to another extent, I mean, look at what people are willing to do just to get a video to be viewed 1 million times, you know.
Oh, crazy shit.
it's just all sorts of stuff, man.
Yeah.
They're willing to do anything to get that, and it makes me think of the drum major instinct. It's a sermon that was preached by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which outside of the Bible is my utmost hero. I love the man.
I'm reading his last book upstairs because like we were talking about, I'm trying to purge off of this technology too.
Yeah.
I unplugged my TV.
Nice.
And set it in the corner because it's just too much, man. I can't wake up and just like it.
I want to get to the point where I don't have to use my phone. But as you know, I threw away thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Yeah,
people are like, "Oh, you're crazy! You could have gave it to." I threw away Xbox One, PS4, tons of video games.
I want you to save that. We'll get to all.
Okay.
We'll
cool.
get to all that. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick little break with this little message, but we'll be right back. What's up? So I figured we'd do this now instead of later. So be sure to like and subscribe. But I also wanted to mention we have a brand new entertainment company coming your way. Movies, music, podcasts, any kind of thing that you like, we're bringing it to you. And that's going to be Planted Seed Entertainment. Website coming soon. Stay tuned for that. Lots of merchandise. Yes. Now back to the pod. All right, and we're back. So yeah, let's have you dive into you if you want to finish where you left off, and then go into the media outage that you've had.
Yeah, so they both tie together into what I was saying: the drum major instinct and technology. So Martin Luther King Jr. had a sermon about it, is that a lot of people believe sex is the most driving factor of the flesh, basically. It's like the thing we crave the most. I tend to believe with Martin Luther King Jr. is that it's the drum major instinct to wanting to be out front, banging the drum. That's what we get from these social media. You get up, you have the hits, like you're excited, Right. But if you don't, you could be depressed. And it's just another thing of dopamine. And it goes back into the dopamine factor is a huge factor that a lot of people don't understand. They're living basically with no fuel on a depleted tank. Mm-hmm. And you pour everything you can into the phone and watching the video and the Facebook, and there's a lot of good things that come from that. I don't want to bash on it. I mean, look what we're doing right now. We're making a podcast. We're talking about things that matter, and hopefully it reaches out there and gets a hold of somebody that they can see or start asking the right questions and start making a difference in their life. So there's a lot of good to it as well. It's not all bad, but so many people just let it consume their lives. And they want to have better situations. They want things. They want better jobs. But they're so used to getting that self-gratification right now from all these different things that they're running on depleted energy. With the pornography and drugs and just releasing dopamine all the time. And it's never getting built back in, that we're constantly living our lives on a depleted energy. Right. Every now and then you come across a person that has not released their seed in a year, or longer. Sure. And they're doing those right things. Let's take Mike Tyson, for example. I've heard him talk about he didn't release a seed for years there in the middle of his reign. And he didn't even know why he was doing it. And he kind of laughed it off, and Customato, Customato,
I didn't release my seed for a little bit.
Didn't ever teach that.
So, Rocky Marciano, I get all that, and Muhammad Ali.
The Gypsy King, which is the champion right now, he's 6'8"? He's a beast, dude. I'm kind of with Michael Jordan, when it comes to like comparing different generations, like Michael Jordan never played against Jerry West or Oscar Robinson or Wilt, but it's fun to have those conversations.
So you were talking about how do we get into that boxing?
Running on depleted tanks.
Okay.
You know, and the social media, just everything that's gratification now. We're not building any depth. I got this from Les Brown. He's awesome motivational speaker, had TV shows, stuff like that. The Chinese bamboo tree. I love this analogy. So this Chinese bamboo tree is a tree that the seed stays into the ground for 5 years, and you have to water it every day, and if you miss one day, it dies. But after 5 years, it grows like 80 feet in like 6 weeks. Damn. Yeah, it just sprouts right up, That's the thing with society. We want to sprout the 80 feet.
And skip all those steps.
Yeah, and we're not watering our seed. We're not getting the depth in the soil. We're not,
True.
If you look at people that are successful, I guess it depends now what you define as success, because you got people like the Logan Pauls of the world, like he makes videos, he's got a ton of energy, but at the same time, look at the dude's body. Like, he obviously works hard, he puts a lot into his body, he's a decent fighter,
he's got a podcast.
Yeah, he's got a podcast, he's putting in a lot of work, so.
By the way, who doesn't have a podcast now?
Hey man, they're becoming the thing. Podcasts are pretty tight, man.
I guess that's what I hear. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either, man. But
you got to cultivate. Yeah, you got to put that seed in the ground. Cultivate. Kind of makes me think of like the Amish. Like we laugh. We look at the Amish and we're like, oh, look at how we laugh at them. We grew up like, oh, the Amish. But maybe they got this shit right.
It's pretty interesting. My cousin Nick was telling me a lot about what they do. It's pretty interesting. They have a community living. They
make their own furniture. Make their own cheese. Make their own wine.
Yeah,
like they got this shit down.
I think that not utilizing the advantages we have at our disposal too. Like, not saying any one life is better than the other, but I mean, that's part of the reason why I've gotten rid of everything but the phone, and it's hard to get rid of the phone, and I want to, be able to wean myself off. I started watching some movies on my phone, and I've been getting more into the faith stuff like that, man. It's like I'm wasting a lot of my precious time. Fuck like, yeah. When I didn't have the phone, I put this blocker thing on my phone called Covenant Eyes, which just basically gets rid of the YouTube and porn sites and like all sorts of different things. But then you could just delete it, the app, and then it was just like, I might still be paying $12 a month for that. I gotta check that.
Yeah, I mean, what if you're just like, oh, I'm itching, and you need to watch something, and you talk about porn, like you're just gonna bypass that system and say, I'm watching this.
Yeah, it was so a part of it's just that process of shedding, kind of like an onion, or growing that what we were talking about last time, that non-perfect, there's no perfect repentance, there's no perfect process. You got to get to the nitty-gritty. It takes time. Look at some of the most successful people that have ever lived. The majority of the people that we'll remember forever that are the most type famous people. I got a lot of famous people like Eminem, Jay-Z. A lot of people know these guys, but not nearly, even remotely as close to people know Trump, Obama, Beethoven, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X.
I think Beethoven, they Disney. Said he's one of the most famous people ever. For sure. Jesus is definitely number one.
Number one on the list. Yeah.
But I think Beethoven was number 2.
Really?
Yeah, because he's everywhere.
Yeah.
And the guy was, man, his story's crazy. He went senile. He was in his 40s, maybe late 40s.
He was abused pretty bad as a kid, right? I believe his father was pretty...
His dad was a drunk.
Intense.
His dad was a failed musician too. And that this I talk about this shit a lot, like with Trevor when we make music, or because there's always, you make music and somebody might be like, oh, that shit sucks. You know, there's always that guy. Beethoven's dad was that guy. He was a failed musician, and he looked at his son. He's like, damn, this kid is fucking special. So he would always say, you suck, you fucking suck. But then away from Beethoven with his friends, he would brag about, my son is a genius. He's a prodigy. So you'll never hear it straight from the father. He never did. And
It reminds me of Barry Sanders' dad.
yeah, like my son is
The third
one of the
running
third
back.
greatest running back. Jim Brown is the
Hall of
best.
Fame speech,
Like,
dude.
bro,
You're
he
like,
is the most talented running back ever. He
greatest.
just
Barry
stopped.
Sanders, the greatest running back.
He did not want to get hit in the fucking head anymore, and not.
I think that's the angle he's going with now.
He got
But at
tired
that
of losing.
time, I don't think it was because his dad's abuse, mental abuse, even though it was his hero. Like, praise is important, I think. If you're always beating the horse, man, you're going to eventually be beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, like, I don't know the full extent, but from what I gather, it seems to me like that Walter Payton's so much better than you and Jim Brown's number 2. Like, you'll never be that. Eventually weighed down on him. He didn't want to pass Walter Payton. That's what I think happened. And he's kind of took a different angle with it now.
You need like
an endorsement.
a good coach will always say, you did this, this, and this right.
Yeah.
And then you need to work on this. You know, like your dad was
You got to
good at
know
that.
your person, too. Like, my dad's the kind of guy that...
Your dad was good at that. Like, hey, you did this right, and then you did great with this and this. But, hey, let's try to work on this.
Not with me, he wasn't.
Well, it's always... But
With me, he was the type that he was... he actually... That's not true. He would praise me a lot, too.
yeah, because you got to throw
you're
the...
right.
You can't just be Barry Sanders' dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Yeah. That's my opinion, I think, is what got him in, is he didn't want to pass Walter Payton because,
Right.
and it had a lot to do with why Barry Sanders, he'd score a touchdown, he'd run right to the ref, give him the ball, and go right back. No emotion.
But this guy could cook on the field. The sweetest moves ever.
Wow. Legs, dude.
Man, those legs.
What amazing legs. Like, look at that guy's legs.
You got a defender. Shit, where is he? Oh, I don't know. Just gave up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
the
I love
Cowboys.
that play. Yes.
I give up.
Yeah.
You'd have guys fake like they're going to tackle him.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, I'm not going to touch him.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just... Like Mark Schlereth, I've heard him say when they would throw an interception, he would fake like he's going to go tackle the guy, but he's like running sideways out of bounds. He's like, Coach, I go! And he just falls out of bounds because he's like, I don't want to fucking try to go tackle this guy.
Who, Barry Sanders?
No, just anybody.
Oh.
Like if Elway would throw a pick and he'd, the offensive lineman have to go try to make a play, Mark Schlereth said, always try to run sideways so your momentum's going out of bounds. So like, by the time you get to the end, you're falling out of bounds.
Oh.
Coach, I tried, but I don't know. He would also say that offensive linemen always in practice, you can always tell an offensive lineman, they always ask, Coach, how do you run this drill again? And the coach is like, we've been doing this shit all year, because the offensive linemen don't want to work out. So they're like, how do we do this again?
Oh, man. I hated practice. If I could go back, I would have worked more on my body. But I practiced on my skill set a lot. But I was missing the body aspect. I can't remember what brought us into the whole Barry Sanders thing.
So planting a seed,
Yes.
people don't cultivate it. You got rid of all the technological devices.
Mm-hmm.
Vices. Let's call them technological vices, not devices. You got rid of all the technological vices in your house.
Yeah. Flat screen TV, like a 56-inch flat screen. Trashed it. Xbox, PlayStation. I had the whole Game of Thrones. I had a bunch of TV series, movies. Like through in my time, I've done this multiple times too, and I'm a strong believer that that's how I've quit most everything I've done, and people might think it's crazy, you know, like you could have gave to me this and that. Why would I give somebody something that I believe is destructive to me?
Right.
I'm not going to give somebody else crack because I don't want to smoke it. You know, like, I'm not going to give other people things that I thought are destructive. Yeah, I may have thrown away $10,000 worth of stuff in my time. You know, with the weed, the cigarettes, alcohol. Alcohol was kind of a different scenario, but throwing things away. I've done that over and over and over again. I bought the Avatar, the full complete Avatar, The Last Airbender, the series like 2 or 3 times, and I've thrown it away like 2 or 3 times. And this may seem very, that's harmless. That's not that bad. Well, I'm a Christian, and I'm trying to give it all of it. I believe that there's only one book I need to read in my life, and that's this one right here.
You got it with you now.
That's all I need to read is this book to get everything I need in life. I just need to read this.
So I
believe that.
So you threw out your PS4, you threw out your flat screen TV,
Xbox, Blu-ray, tons of different series and movies. There, I had 30 games.
It seems like you peeled the onion. Mm-hmm. Now you have the core of the onion left. Yeah. Right here.
Yeah.
This is this is like the hot core of the onion.
Yeah.
Burning through. It's a shit show, man.
But at the same time, it's almost like a necessity in life to have.
I know it's
like
crazy.
Nearly impossible.
It's crazy.
I need it for my job.
Right.
But just getting rid of all that stuff and doing all that was a huge step. And I've took some of that power back. A lot of that dopamine release I've gotten back.
Yeah.
You know, and now I plan on, I have a regiment that I want to get to. Mm-hmm. That includes going to bed at 9 and waking up at 3 a.m. That's what I would like to do with my even I could do that as a truck driver.
And then you want to cook your own meals. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make a challenge.
Yes.
So that you stick to it, because you might say something to yourself or to me off mic.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's easy to not follow through.
Yeah.
In that circumstance.
That's where the birth of the idea that we shared. It was that thing I think we kind of both came up together with this interactive podcast.
So in order
putting these
for us,
life challenges,
yeah,
and letting people witness us live them.
So
you can grow with us. You can observe the difference.
So the challenge is to lose how much weight?
I want to lose 100 pounds in 6 months. Okay. I'm like 410 pounds. I stepped on the scale. It said OLD, overload.
No way.
Yeah, dude. And so it was like 406, and then it went like overload. So I'm probably about 410 pounds.
Who the fuck made that scale? Like,
I don't know.
Are you trying to cause suicides or what?
I don't know.
You want people to get on a scale. And it says
not funny, but
overload.
In fact, I'm an overload. Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about.
It's funny to me.
You can look at it and laugh. Yeah.
What's that saying? Don't take life too serious. You'll never get out alive. You know, you got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Well, you're going, because I've seen you super skinny before.
Yeah, 145 pounds.
Yeah, and I know you're going to be skinny again, so I'm not worried about that. But there are people that are not ever going to lose the weight, and they might get on the scale and see overload and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to throw this shit out the window? Like, what are you saying here?
I weigh too much. Let's
you'll get there though. So you want to get down to 310.
300, I'll say. It's very doable in 6 months.
So it's almost December. Mm-hmm. January, February, March, April, May. So by June, 310.
300, we'll say 300.
300 by June.
Yeah, it's about 20 pounds a month. You got to remember, I'm also 410 pounds, so if I stick to that 2,000, even 2,500 calories to start, it's going to fall off. The weight's going to...
I think you could do 275, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's a better number to shoot for.
Yeah. Sure. We'll go 275 by June of 2021.
By June of 2021. I think you can do it quicker.
Yeah.
I think in a healthy way, you could be down at 275 by May.
The healthy way
by your birthday.
is 20 pounds a month, about 2 pounds a day.
Right.
Something like that. Or no, it's not 2 pounds a day because that would be 60 pounds in a month. I don't know. My cousin broke it down to me, but it's basically about, for me, he said it'd be very healthy to do about 20 pounds a week. He went to college for it. So.
275 by June.
275 by June.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
What, are you rethinking it?
No, I was just thinking about the numbers. I was thinking, should I do 250 is what I was thinking. I don't want to overdo it, but you know what? At the same time, like, I believe in making goals that are unreachable.
Sure.
I believe in that. I believe that's why I do things cold turkey. That's why I've thrown things away. I do things on an extreme level. You know, my ultimate goal is to be an evangelist. I want to go to West Chicago, and there's this street called Garfield Boulevard that splits all the worst neighborhoods. And then there's Washington Park, Inglewood, West Chicago, and they're like all, they shoot across each other across the street, Garfield Boulevard. And I want to go and spread the gospel there.
There you go.
You know, so that's the ultimate goal. But
we'll hold you to the 275 for June for now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, June 275.
June 275. All right.
6 months. That's a pretty hefty goal. That leaves no room for error.
But you
can't really mess up at all.
But you want to push it though. You said.
Yeah, I like that. No, that's good.
So, okay. We'll hedge our bets though. You could you could beat the deadline if you get to April. Like there has to be some kind of. So what happens if you don't do it? What if you fail?
All our fans have to see me be a failure. Nelson. What's up, mascot?
So the only failure consequence is you fail?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem risky enough for me.
I don't know. You should ask Michael Jordan about that. Let's see what failing does to Michael Jordan.
You want to segue into that? So you were talking about who else was drafted number 3. I thought the exact same thing when I heard it. When Adam Silver announced LaMelo Ball as the 3rd pick.
He's probably the best ball brother.
Guess who drafted him 3rd?
The Bulls?
No. Michael Jordan.
Charlotte Hornets?
Yeah.
What? Who's all in Charlotte now?
Nobody.
Michael Jordan. It's like the whole Barry Bonds, Michael Jordan complex. You know, it's like when you're that good of a competitor, it's really hard to coach. It's hard to take on to that next because you expect other people to like. That's why Barry Bonds wasn't a very good hitting coach. He was in there. He came in. He's like, "You can't see that's a slider. You can't see that's a slider." You know, it's like,
I beg.
Sorry, Barry Bonds. I'm not.
I beg
the greatest
to differ.
Hitter.
I beg to differ on that statement.
Oh, really?
He produced Marcell Ozuna, Giancarlo Stanton, and Christian Yelich. He took all those guys under his wing, and JT Realmuto. I'd say he's a pretty damn good hitting coach. He's just an asshole.
But that's the thing too is those guys had the it factor that he had. But when he coached a team, when he's dealing with people that...
Did they have it at the time? Nobody knew who Yelich was for a couple years.
Sure, but I think he probably had that talent, and Bonds helped nurture that talent. When you're dealing with guys that don't have that kind of talent, they're still good. I mean, they got there for a reason. But, I mean, when he coached a team, he didn't do very good when he was the hitting coach for a team.
No, he's just saturated in controversy, man.
Yeah.
No other. That's the nicest way I could put it.
Dude hit 500 home runs and stole 500 bases before he touched the steroid.
And he's
Beautiful swing. Maybe the most beautiful swing ever.
one of 4 members of the 40-40 club, which is elusive. Mm-hmm. He's just there's a lot. Ryan would say some stuff about it. Shout out to you, Ryan. I know you're watching. Hey, I'm not trying to. The guy was a great player.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say anything bad about him.
Cheaters. That's the thing too, man. It's like everybody was probably blood doping with the Tour de France. Probably most all of them are doing.
Oh yeah.
But Lance Armstrong won 7 Tour de France's in
Gave
a row.
them all back.
Yeah. So it's only the one that's the best at cheating that pays the price for cheating. You know, that's one of those things about it. It's like, I think the majority of all these athletes cheat today.
Right.
And it's hard to stay competitive or keep up with it without cheating. I mean, let's take LeBron James when he went to Miami. That shit was suspect. Mid-season, he's back with the Cavaliers. Sus. He goes with the Cavaliers, and then all of a sudden he's like, I need to go to Miami to recuperate, like, whatever, something. Probably went there and did some sort of, like, blood transfusion or some shit.
No, I don't think so. Really?
Yeah. Dude, why else does he just go mid-season, goes to Miami, just stops at, like, a lot of people believe he's probably getting steroids out of his system or growth hormones or something. He was somehow getting it out of his body.
Yeah,
I don't know though. I mean, I could be off base, but
I think basketball is a whole different case study as far as steroids and growth hormones. You're bred into it. We've talked about it before. You're bred into it. You don't choose the NBA. It chooses you.
You're born.
The NFL.
Like, nothing against their hard work, but
you're born into it.
You can work as hard as you want, you know, like.
I'm not getting there.
There's nothing me or you could have ever done to make it in the NBA, no matter how hard we work. I had like a 14-inch vertical.
We could have drank the water from Space Jam, and we'd still not be there. Jose Altuve, as much as he's cheated, and all, you know, there's been other guys. Hack Wilson, way back in the day. Mm-hmm. These are small guys.
Yeah, but that's the
who
thing
can
about
swing.
baseball too.
Yeah, you can be any size you want.
Yeah, same. Football and basketball, you're born.
It chooses you. You don't choose it.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever chosen the NFL. It chose them. Mm-hmm. Come here.
Yeah. Bo Jackson. Like, dude got a hard on. He couldn't blink. Like 13 years old. Mom, I can't blink. Help.
So like, you had this podcast might take a weird turn right now. So you told me yesterday, Thailand.
Oh yeah.
Is that real? Because I did some research.
See, that's one of those things that may not be in, like, it's decriminalized, I think. I heard it from church where people did a mission trip in Thailand, and like they were like mothers were masturbating their own children as a form of punishment, like draining their energy, basically.
Yikes! Yeah, I did research. I couldn't find anything about it.
I think people saw it firsthand or like dealt with the conversation of it. I mean,
I didn't want to take that turn, but I did. Yeah. I also know you wanted to talk about, you know, Terry Crews, Ben Roethlisberger. They've come out. They've said that what they've struggled with. They've come out on the record.
Kanye West, I'm pretty sure. I think
did Kanye?
It. I could be wrong about that. I'm starting to second guess myself now.
I don't think you would with Kim Kardashian.
This was probably before Kim.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong too.
Okay.
I'm starting to second guess myself.
So that kind of ties in with the end of your, well, not the end of it, but just the continuation of your story.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of went with it. It's like there was that period where I really grew, and then since then I've, you know, with my relationship and everything, I've learned how to speak better. You know, I've learned how to lay down my pride. To be able to just shut up and let someone else speak and really fight battles in prayer and in the secret place. You know, like, there's nothing you can do to change somebody from the outside. It has to be done on the inside. You know, there's nothing I could ever do to change somebody, you know, and I would like to be that example, and I believe in the Holy Spirit and stuff like that, and being, you know, being an example, loving people and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's change has to happen on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just that's kind of where a lot of, like, where I've grown is to learn to lay down my life, you know, and I think that's every good relationship with couples that truly flourish. It's laying down your life for your spouse, for your family, you know, military, we kind of talked about all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that's kind of what happened after that, like 2 years. For the past couple of years now, I've just grown and really strengthened and honed in on better understanding of those things in which I healed before. And it led to now, which is the next big step, which was getting rid of the technology,
Right.
in hopes to help me get past the pornography issue that came in.
Okay.
And eating, which I think they're very much linked together. The last step of the digestive system is the creation of semen. That's where all the extra energy goes. Your food energy is stored in semen. That's the ending process.
The nutrients, the minerals.
Yeah.
So you think if you do it too much, your hunger goes up, and then you feed that, and then once you feed that, you go back.
Yep. It's a vicious cycle. Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what made me gain the weight. The other part is, like we were talking about before, when you're it's the renewing of your mind. Every great person ever in the history of society has renewed their mind. That is where the battle is fought. It's fought on the battlefield of the mind. It's where it all is found. You know, and you have to retrain your mind. You have to rebuild your mind. You have to break it down, put it on a good foundation, and rebuild it. And I've, for years now, been breaking everything down. I've not even yet started the building process. And I think that's part of it, too, is like we were saying earlier, the greatest people in society, all of them really became successful in their 30s, mid-30s, late 30s. Like,
right.
The deeper, it's about knowing yourself. It's about breaking yourself down and rebuilding yourself. You know, and I believe, and I do that through the Holy Spirit, through God. That's where I get my strength. And I believe people do it in many different ways.
Yeah. So, how do you think you break the chain? You know, you said it's a vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you leave here today and change that?
Well, it's kind of still in the process of it. A couple months ago, like 3 months ago, I got rid of all my technology. I spent a lot of time playing the video games, stuff like that. This is hot wires your brain in that same kind of dream state, and it's a subconscious thing. You know, I broke one link, and after that, I put that thing up that I was telling you about, and for like 3 weeks, all I did was read the Bible and pray and work and. No technology, no screen at all. I didn't have the YouTube or anything. And
then you kind of just...
I fell out of it.
Yeah, you went back to it.
Yeah, and then I realized it was as easy as just deleting the app. So...
I don't get that app.
Yeah, it's stupid.
At all.
It was a stupid thing.
I don't see
works
how
on my laptop.
How did anybody create that app and say this works?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean... It doesn't work on the phone. There's a backup thing where you got like a accountability thing so you can like know what your kids are doing. You can see what people are doing. But when you're fighting that battle alone, it doesn't
by yourself.
Really help. Yeah. But to answer your question, so
how do you leave?
That's where like, and getting into this job that I'm in now with the over the road trucking, the better money and stuff like that, and also that was part of it. So I'm going to try to stick to my regiment, reading the Bible when I wake up in the morning. First thing, praying, reading my Bible. eating a good breakfast, doing some sort of workout of whatever it is. Just calf raises at the step of my truck, or taking a walk, or even doing this. Like that's, I need more than that, but that's where they start with the people that are really big. That's where they start.
That's
doing
a good
this.
start.
A person that weighs 800 pounds, they start by just doing this.
Yeah.
So sticking to a regimen. I'm a person that likes a plan. I like having a regimen. I couldn't work from home by myself. I probably would never get nothing done. I'm not the kind of guy that could work from home. I wouldn't, I wouldn't get my job done. So that's the next step, with this job and stuff like that. And if just kind of go with it as it goes, making the meals, stuff like that, reading the Bible, going to bed early, getting up early. Like, I've cut a huge part of it out. And yeah, I've watched like movies and stuff on my phone and stuff like that. But I believe I could break the cycle at this point because I have made such drastic changes. And if not, the next thing is to get a flip phone without the internet and somehow do my job. I won't have the TransFlow where you can put your thing in so you get paid right away. But when I come back to Colorado, I'll just have to give them the paperwork. And some checks I might get like $4,000, and other checks I might get nothing.
Do you use GPS on your phone?
On occasion, yeah. But if I have to, I have a GPS in my truck too.
Oh, okay. So
that's kind of like.
So that's what. That's all you need.
I believe that God will give me the strength to be able to do it from this point because I've made a lot of those radical changes and stuff like that.
So is it when you wake up when it's the worst?
Before I go to bed is my worst.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I don't ever do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I very rarely do it more than once a day. And most times I don't do it necessarily every day. Or maybe just like once a day for me before I go to bed.
So you had a stat about kindergartners.
Oh, yes.
That was pretty disturbing, actually.
Yeah. So my pastor mentioned this at a sermon at my church. I don't know where all these statistics come from. I know that they're accurate statistics in regards to statistics. But, I mean, everything we're seeing with the election polls and shit, who knows the severity or how accurate a lot of these statistics are just by the statistic. I think we got to look at other factors and pour them in, and look at other factors and put them into the thing to see if this is a reality because, one statistic by itself probably doesn't give you the full source.
So what's the statistic?
But the statistic is that 52%, so 52 out of 100, or basically 1 out of every 2 kids in kindergarten at the age of 5 have already been introduced to internet pornography. And I can believe that because I see all these kids have a phone, for one. It's accessible. The erectile dysfunction in the youth. Everybody I know watches pornography, if they admit it or not. I could tell.
Everybody.
For the most part, the most people admit it. Even it, very rarely do you find a person that doesn't. And I think women may lie about it a lot more than men. That's why the numbers don't seem as high in women. But I could be wrong. That could be a false statement. But I believe that that's a reality.
Sure.
That women probably just don't admit it. But I think a lot of women probably watch pornography too.
Sure.
Oh, yes. Kids. 52%. So, you look at the outside factors, and I could believe that. It might even be higher. We're getting introduced to this stuff younger and younger, and it drains your energy. It depletes your life force. And people think it's impossible. And you know what? It's something I've been working towards for 7 years, So it's not an easy thing to do by any means.
It's definitely not. I mean, it sounds like you're making strides, but you might have hit a rut. And
Yeah, I hit a rut there for a little bit, but I've also gone over a month multiple times. I've, you know, grown in a lot of different aspects. You know, it's one of those things. It's like, I know once I break the ceiling, I'm gonna be powerful, dynamite.
So how do we do that then? This is the last little portion of the podcast. How do you leave here, kind of with that newfound glory?
Well, I've already been working towards this point. You know, with the job.
Sure.
This was all part of it. It's like getting rid of the stuff. Like, I think just sticking with my regiment, going into the plan and sticking with it, which is the getting up, praying, reading the Bible, doing a little bit of exercise, going to work, you know, the driving, listening to the Bible, listening to educational things while I'm on the road. And then when I get off, making that dinner, reading my Bible, going to bed.
Okay.
Sticking to that plan. I think I can
keep that plan going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how do all other men?
That's it.
Well, I mean, I was asking you specifically. You answered it. But then from that, how do all other men? Basically, how Trevor was talking about, it's a problem. It's a big problem. 98%, practically all of us.
Zero tolerance. You have to cut out all things that are your triggers. I took a class actually with my church, and you weren't allowed to have any technology outside of work or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, that's the thing. It's the technology that leads you to it. Watching a movie seems very, you know, it's like, oh, that ain't bad. But, I mean, look at someone like Sofia Vergara. That chick is bad, bro. You know, and then you watch a movie where she's just being sexy in it. Like, that's a trigger.
Well, that
leads down a road.
Those triggers are never going to go away. That trigger is outside right now.
Yeah, but
we walk out this door and you're going to see a trigger.
Sure.
You're going to be on the road tomorrow. You're going to see tons of triggers.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get away from it, dude.
But that's the thing, too, though, is that you can for a period of time. Like, yeah, there's the girls and stuff like that to a certain extent. But you don't have to have Facebook and the internet and all those kind of things to live your life. You don't have to watch movies. You got to start cutting those things out of your life for a season.
Sure.
It's like, for me, I wasn't around anyone that smoked marijuana. I got away from marijuana. I went to church, and I substituted reading the Word and going to church. I heavily involved myself in church. Like 6 days, 7 days a week. You know, you were there when I was doing that stuff. I fed the homeless and prayed for the elderly and went to church 3 nights a week and played softball with the church. And you got to substitute the bad things for good things. And there's a season. Now someone could smoke a weed around me and I have no problem saying no. You know, it doesn't mean, like, you got to make dramatic lifestyle changes. You know, watching movies and stuff like that, you could probably go back to being able to watch movies at some point. But until you get over that addiction, you got to cut those things out of your life. And that's the only way I think to do it.
Have a season where you get away.
Yeah.
Become a recluse. Just get away from everything. Become a hermit. Mm-hmm. Come back.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily have to be a hermit, but go to the gym. Work out. You know, yeah, there's pretty girls there, but that sure beats a phone with unlimited pornography access. It sure beats watching a movie where, like, Dirty Grandpa, you know, with Aubrey, you know, it's just beautiful, and she's being seductive, you know, it beats those things, man. Going to a gym and working out and focusing in on the working out beats watching
the
Baywatch movie, you know?
I did watch that. That movie sucks.
Dirty
the way.
Grandpa.
No, the Baywatch movie.
Oh, the Baywatch
With
movie. The
Zac
Rock swears
Efron,
it's
Rock.
so good.
The Rock tries to be too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Zac Efron tries to be too cool. End of the movie. I just gave you the whole movie.
Yeah.
They all survive.
What's that girl's name? Oh man, I can't think of it right now. The brunette.
The bad lady.
No,
She's Indian.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
very attractive too. Now I'm talking about the one with the blue eyes.
Oh, I don't know her. I have no idea. But yeah, that probably triggered you pretty bad. Right?
It can, but that's my point. Is like,
did it?
No, I think what it does kind of is like having a scale.
Okay.
And you put a drip and a drip and a drip.
Okay.
Or like a ladder. You're taking a step. Take a step. Take another step. If you get to the top of the ladder, it's too hard to come down from that ladder. You're going down the slide, bro. So what you gotta do is stop taking those little steps.
Or you could fall off the ladder and die.
Yeah.
Fall to your death.
Yeah.
That ladder could fall right into a bush.
You're dead. And the stuff kills you. And I wish I knew before I got too far up the ladder. But you can change. You can get over it. And that's what it is you got to understand your triggers. What is your trigger? And you got to remove those triggers. And you got to have zero tolerance. You got to substitute it with things like reading books, working out, whatever that may be. For me, it's praying, reading the Bible. That's why my plan is specifically built around working hard, doing my job, making money, working hard, reading the Bible, praying, getting alone with God. Those things are at the root of what makes the change. And I got rid of the video games. I got rid of all those kind of things. I cut them from my life. I threw them in the trash can.
So when you got rid of the PS, did you shatter it with a hammer?
Yep. It was hard to do, too, man. It was hard. Yep. It was like part of the thing for me, breaking the DVDs, smashing the things
the physical sensation of
bah! Yep. Bah! Yep. It was part of it. It's like, I will not let this thing control my life and be a trigger for the pornography, for just eating and suck away my time. Right. Getting a 99 overall on my 2K guy, I remember I was like, you were like, hey, play this game with me.
He called me at 1 a.m. He said, create your guy on NBA 2K. I created my guy.
Yeah.
You said pay $20 to get him up to 85.
Yeah.
I said, no, I think I'll just do it organically. He's a 67 right now. Let me just work him up, right? We go into a 2-on-2. Your guy's a 98.
99.
And you missed every shot.
I know.
I was feeding you the ball. You missed every shot. I'm like, dude, you're a 99.
My dude was a big.
I'm a 67. You're a 99.
Yeah.
You're missing every shot. And then I think you were like, all right, fuck this.
I was pissed.
Fuck this.
Because I do good in the rec with my big guy, but I went out on the out.
Well, I think the problem was when I first came on to the 2K scene, you were like, yo, I'm in the gym. And I'm like, I'm at home playing the game. And you're like, what do you mean you're in the gym? I'm like, what do you mean you're at the gym? I'm on the treadmill.
I'm at the Gatorade gym.
And I'm looking around like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? No, come over here. I'm on the treadmill. And on the game, I go over, you're on the treadmill.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, you should be doing this in real life.
Real life, yeah. I should
like, what are we doing here?
Yep. You gain nothing from being a 99 overall. Like, I put all that time, and then you're like, come play this game with me at the MLB The Show.
Oh, like, man, I gotta
I gotta get my guy at 99. I gotta get him there. I have to.
I got then you that game. We played one game.
I was addicted, dude.
I got you that game though. That game we played on the show.
Oh.
You were so pissed.
Oh yeah. I'm a competitor.
Yeah, of course. But I think that's just like, okay, this is too much. Did you take a bat to it or a hammer?
A hammer.
Okay, just
Yep. I had like 3 trash bags, big black trash bags filled with electronic shit. PlayStation, Xbox One, video games, movies, TV series, TV, Blu-ray.
Meanwhile, there's kids in North Korea who have never seen this shit, and you're just
Yep.
taking a hammer
I
to
threw
it.
away enough stuff to like give water to an African village for like a month.
You did, yeah.
It's like that's a crazy thought, but yeah.
I mean, but it helped. I mean, you got to stick with it now.
I made it like 3 weeks to a month where I was on, and dude, it was amazing. Like, girls were at my job were like, man, you're handsome. They were coming up to me. It's like, just the energy level. You're vibing on a whole nether energy level, a whole different scale. And people know it, and they love it, and they gravitate to it.
So you're going to stick with your regimen.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check back with you
Yeah.
on the next podcast that we have.
Might be doing it remotely, right?
Wherever you go in the country, we'll hook up remotely, and we'll check in, and just
y'all are gonna have to take my word for it. I mean, I'm 410-ish pounds. I mean, why would I lie about being 410 pounds? You know.
Well, that too, but I also with this technology too. You said you bought an iPad.
Oh yeah, that's after like I made it almost a whole month, and I was on a roll, dude, and then I was sweat.
And you broke? Did you break
sweating it out, dude?
You broke that too?
Yep. As soon as I did it once, I broke it. But I know it sounds crazy, but that's how I quit weed. I dumped it down the toilet multiple times, and eventually it just stopped. You know, it's like you gotta continue. You gotta be relentless, man. You have to give everything you are to it. Whatever it is, you gotta give everything. That's the only way that I've ever been able to do anything in my life. And I know looking at me now, my way may be hard to realize, but I was great at baseball. That was my thing. That's what I was amazingly good. I very well could have went. Mike Trout could be living my life. I was potentially could have been that good.
He stole your life.
No. I gave my life away. I gave it away.
Mike Trout stole his life.
Nah, I gave it away. But I could have been on that level. I had the potential. You know, because that was all life was at that time.
Now you got to build brick by brick.
Now it's a whole different thing.
Make it back up, and we'll check back.
Yeah.
The next podcast with you will be right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'll just see what happens.
Yeah. Leave you on this note. The flower that blooms last is often the most beautiful of all.
That's some good stuff right there.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Keep going at it. Every day that you work hard towards it and you give your life over to it, you're gaining. You're not losing.
Right.
The flower that blooms last is often the most beautiful of all.
Hey, good shit, man. Thanks for coming out. We'll get you back on here.
Thanks for having me, man.
Stay fresh, people.
Love you.